The story of the Renegade started way back in 2017. Evolve has always been about the endless carve. We've always loved off-road riding. We love to surf the grass, we love to explore trails, and we knew that we wanted to make a board that was more capable of this kind of riding. So our first iteration was more based off non-electric mountain boards. It seemed promising, but like any first draft, it needed some refining. How much camber and concave should a deck have? How long should it be? What's the right amount of flex? All of these questions were answered by us creating deck after deck after deck. We realized the extreme camber found on many normal mountain board decks produce an unnatural stance when riding, and it became pretty uncomfortable after a while. It might be okay for like a minute or two on a traditional mountain board. When you ride longer distances, as you do on normal electric skateboards, it just didn't feel great. This is our first carbon fiber board that has real flex and pop. The reason behind this is because it isn't made the same way as all our previous carbon decks have been made. It's a complete solid piece of carbon fiber that is made up of many layers bound together by epoxy resin. It flexes very similar to a bamboo longboard deck, but it has the added pop like a real snowboard deck. This layering process has allowed us to achieve a super thin profile, yet it looks and has the strength of carbon fiber. So we've told you how strong this deck is. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna run it over with this big ass bad truck. Let's have a look. Firstly, you get a sense of the flex. This is the first time, we haven't done this before.
Yep, a little bit more. A little bit more, yep.
Bloody awesome. How good's that? Woohoo! Obviously, an absolute game changer is the bindings. Bindings on an electric skateboard gives you the ability to turn harder and of course lift the board from the ground. Whether it's just to aid you navigating through cities or hopping up and down gutters, traversing through difficult terrain, or you actually want to send it and get some airtime, having bindings creates so many new opportunities to do that our other boards cannot do. The deck has 48 inbuilt mounting points for customizable placement for either regular or goofy riders. The bindings themselves consist of a top binding where the pad can be levered onto your foot with a ratchet. This allows great control and you can easily slide your foot in and out of the binding as you need. We also have an optional heel strap which attaches to the binding and creates a full lock-in. This is going to give you the maximum amount of lock-in and control. But be warned, it's designed to keep you attached, so you won't be slipping out if you need to do a quick run-off. The Renegade was designed to be used with and without bindings, which is not too common in the world of mountain boards. We worked on adding flares around the edge of the foot platform so it gives riders more control when they're not strapped in. The board comes standard with 76A bushings, which allows for a flowy carving experience. And we have harder bushings also available for the more extreme riding, where stability takes more priority over the maneuverability. The Renegade, simply put, is our off-road board. We've taken all our other boards on some of the best dirt trails around the world, and it's been a huge amount of fun. We know they are all capable, but we wanted to push this a little bit further and see what is possible. Stability and control is the name of the game when it comes to off-road riding. We've spoken about the deck and bindings, but let's talk about the trucks. Since day one, Evolve have used a double kingpin truck design to replicate the endless wave, that proper surfing experience. For the first time ever, the Renegade has moved into a new lane, using a new spring channel truck design. We call them the Renegade Forged. So what's the difference? Firstly, the wheelbase is much wider than our double kingpin supercarb truck, coming in at 15.5 inches, which immediately adds to the stability when riding. The way the channel trucks work is they are mounted on an angle to the deck, and they have a single shaft which provides side-to-side movement. In either side of that shaft are springs, which also has a bushing locked inside of it. These springs and bushings are what provide resistance when the board tilts side to side. It's crucial the trucks can take a beating out in the field. So we used a forging process to produce them, ensuring absolute maximum strength. The main difference you'll feel compared to our existing trucks is it requires more pressure to turn, and its maximum turning point is not as deep as the old supercar truck. Softer bushings do allow for easier turning compared to the harder bushings.
What we want to do here today is have these different setups to show you what you can expect from your board. So we have the standard Renegade, that's just no bindings and stock bushings. We have a no bindings one over there with the upgraded hard bushings, and we have the standard one here, standard bushings, but it does have the bindings. So firstly, let's compare the two hardnesses of bushings and show you exactly what that does. As you can see with the standard soft bushings and no bindings, the board still turns pretty well. This is turning around in quite a tight space relatively to what you're going to be riding in the day-to-day, and it'll get you out of most scenarios. As you can see, when you put the harder bushings in, especially without bindings, it does increase the turning radius quite dramatically. It becomes a very stiff board, which makes it hard for turning, but of course it does have insane stability, so great for off-road riding. The next steps we're going to do is put up the two standard Renegades against each other, one with bindings, one without. The thing with bindings is that it gives you complete control of the board. You can lean as far as you want and you're not going to come off the side of that. And that translates into being able to turn ridiculously tight. In some cases, you could say you can turn tighter than a Haitian because of how much lean you're able to get on the product.
The Renegade uses the electrical genetics of the Haitian series, that being the EFOC motor controller and the 6,000 watt motors, but it's fitted with an upgraded 20 amp hour Samsung 50S battery. It's now our longest range evolved board. We are stoked about this board. It's been a really long time coming. We can't wait to hear feedback and further develop the Renegade series into the future.